Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving into something pretty wild today. We're talking Tesla, but not their cars.
Oh, interesting.
We're going deeper, like way deeper,
Yeah.
into the world of Optimus, their humanoid robot. It's like something straight out of science
I'm
fiction.
like, robot or something.
Exactly. And we've got this awesome article from the Motley Fool. These guys really know their stuff when it comes to finance and tech.
Oh, yeah, they're a great source. So what's the mission for today's deep dive?
We're going to unpack this whole Optimus thing, what it is, what it could mean for Tesla, and what it could even mean for, like, our jobs in the future. I mean, robots handling our everyday tasks.
Yeah.
That's the vision. That's what we're exploring.
Big questions for sure. Lots to unpack there.
Definitely. So right off the bat, Elon Musk has been making some seriously bold claims.
Oh, has he ever?
Like during Tesla's Q4 2025 earnings call, he threw out this number. A potential $10 trillion market for Optimus.
10 trillion. Whack.
It's mind-blowing. But hold on. This isn't even the first time he's made these crazy predictions about Optimus.
Oh, yeah. Remember back in the summer of 25, he was even more bullish. Talking about a $200 trillion business.
200 trillion. Okay, come on. That's just
A bit of a jump.
a bit. It's like a galaxy-sized leap. Should we even take these numbers seriously?
Well, predicting future markets is always tricky. It's like trying to read tea leaves, especially with something as new as this.
Right. Like, who even knows what the demand for humanoid robots will be?
Exactly. And then there's the cost of making them at scale, figuring out how much they'll cost, and all the rules and regulations. That's a whole other can of worms.
So many unknowns.
So many. But that doesn't mean Optimus isn't important. This whole thing, it's a signal. It tells us Tesla's looking beyond just cars and batteries.
That's what I found really interesting in the article. It's a diversification move.
Absolutely. This is about Tesla becoming an AI powerhouse. They're putting their chips on the table.
And they're not being shy about it. They're all over social media showing Optimus doing its thing. Like sorting stuff, walking around obstacles. Pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it's like they're giving us a sneak peek into the future. A future where robots are part of our daily lives.
And not just our lives. Think about Tesla's own factories. The potential there is huge. Cost savings, efficiency through the roof.
Oh, absolutely. And it goes way beyond just Tesla, manufacturing, healthcare, logistics. I mean, imagine the possibilities in every industry, potentially even in your own job.
That's what gets people thinking, right? Will robots take our jobs?
Yeah, it's a big concern. But instead of thinking about it like robots taking over, the article suggests we focus on how Optimus could work with us.
Like take over the boring stuff, the dangerous stuff. Leave the creative thinking to us humans.
Exactly. That's the kind of future Tesla seems to be working towards.
Well, that's definitely a more optimistic take than the whole robots taking over the world scenario.
Definitely. But it's important to remember technology itself isn't good or bad. It's all about how we use it.
Yeah, it's like a powerful tool. You can build something amazing or you can cause some serious damage. It all comes down to the people behind it.
Exactly. And that brings up a really important question. If Optimus really is this powerful tool, how do we make sure it's used the right way? Ethically.
That's the trillion-dollar question.
Yeah, that's a question for another time. But before we go any further, let's back up a bit. For those who aren't totally familiar, what exactly is Optimus?
Right. It's basically a robot shaped like a human, designed to do things that usually need, well, us. Things that need our hands and our brains.
Yeah, it's still in the early stages, but the goal is to have it working right alongside us, blending in.
So not just working in factories. We're talking robots in our homes, taking care of people, maybe even doing surgery someday.
Exactly. The possibilities are huge. It's exciting, but also a little bit scary.
Definitely raises a lot of questions. We've heard Elon Musk's big predictions about Optimus, but have we actually seen anything that makes us think it can live up to the hype? I mean, he made some pretty big promises about self-driving cars that, well, haven't quite happened on schedule.
True, his track record with timelines isn't perfect. But you gotta admit, Tesla's making real progress in AI and robotics. They've shown Optimus doing some pretty impressive stuff.
Impressive, sure, but like, are we talking brain surgery level impressive?
Not yet, at least. And there are still a lot of challenges, technical challenges, ethical challenges, but that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating, right? This technology could completely change how we live and work.
No doubt about it. We've talked about the market, Tesla's strategy, and what it could mean for different industries. But what about the bigger picture? How will Optimus affect society as a whole? How we interact with each other? How we think about work? What it even means to be human?
Those are the big questions, and they deserve our full attention. Let's shift gears a bit and explore those broader societal implications of Optimus. What could this mean for our world?
So we've been talking about all this potential for Optimus to, change industries and even our daily lives. But let's be real for a second. What about the downsides? Are we headed towards a future where robots just take all the jobs and we're all left twiddling our thumbs?
It's a natural worry. I get it. Anytime we see technology changing things this fast, there's that fear of being left behind. But I think if you look back, we've seen this pattern before. New technologies shake things up, but they also create a whole bunch of new opportunities.
Okay, so maybe mass unemployment isn't a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
But are there other risks we should be thinking about? I mean, you've seen those sci-fi movies, right? The robots become self-aware, decide they don't need us humans anymore.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves with the Hollywood doomsday scenarios. The robot uprising might make for a good movie plot, but in reality, we're a long way off from AI that's that smart.
So the real risks are probably a bit more subtle than, robots becoming our overlords.
Exactly. The more immediate concerns are things like data privacy, algorithmic bias, and potential job losses in certain sectors. These are complicated issues that need some serious thought and some proactive solutions.
I noticed the Motley Fool article didn't really get into those ethical questions, did it?
Not really, no. They were mostly focused on the market potential and the tech itself. But those ethical questions, they're crucial. I mean, if we're talking about Optimus working in our homes, interacting with our families, we absolutely need to make sure it's programmed with strong ethical guidelines.
Yeah, that makes sense. Data security, privacy, even the possibility of robots being misused. These are all things we need to be thinking about.
Absolutely. And we need to be having these conversations now while this technology is still being developed. We have a chance to shape the future of AI in a way that benefits everyone.
Sounds like a lot of responsibility falls on the shoulders of companies like Tesla.
For sure. They have a moral obligation to consider the consequences of what they're creating, to put safety and ethics first.
But it's not just up to the companies, right? Governments and regulators need to be involved too.
Absolutely. We need clear rules and guidelines to make sure these technologies are developed and used responsibly. It's going to take everyone working together, technologists, ethicists, policymakers, and the public.
So it's bigger than just building cool robots. It's about building a future where humans and AI can actually coexist and thrive.
Exactly. And I think that's a future worth fighting for. A future where AI can help us tackle some of the world's biggest problems. Climate change, healthcare, poverty.
It's easy to get caught up in the fear of what a disruptive technology like Optimus could mean. But it's also important to remember humans have always adapted to new technologies. I mean, think about it. We went from horse and buggy to cars to airplanes. And each of those changes came with its own set of challenges. But we figured it out. We adapted. And ultimately, we benefited from it.
And I believe we can do the same with AI. It's all about finding that balance, embracing the possibilities while minimizing the risks, shaping this technology in a way that aligns with our values and helps make the world a better place.
Okay, I'm feeling a bit more optimistic now. But let's bring it back down to earth for a second. What does all this mean for the average person, someone who's not a tech expert, but is curious about how Optimus might affect their own life?
I think the main takeaway is this. AI is going to affect all of us in some way, whether we realize it or not. It's already changing industries, how we work, even how we interact with each other. Optimus is just one example of this bigger trend.
So what can the everyday person do to prepare for this AI-powered future?
Stay informed, be curious, engage in these conversations about the ethical implications, and most importantly, be a lifelong learner. The skills that are in demand today might be totally irrelevant tomorrow, so being able to adapt and learn new things is going to be essential.
Great advice. We can't just pretend AI isn't happening. We need to be proactive, be informed, and engage with this tech in a thoughtful way.
Exactly. And hey, who knows, maybe someday we'll all have our own personal Optimus robot assistant helping us navigate this crazy world.
Okay, that image is kind of cool, but also a little creepy. But hey, if it can do my laundry and make a decent cup of coffee, maybe I could get used to it.
I think we could all use a little help in those departments. But seriously, this conversation is just getting started. As Optimus and other AI technologies keep developing, we're going to need to keep asking the tough questions, challenging assumptions, and working together to make sure this tech is used for good.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the potential market for Optimus to the bigger societal and ethical questions around AI. But I feel like there's one big question we haven't fully addressed yet. what does all this mean for the future of work?
You're right. We touched on the possibility of job losses, but it's worth digging deeper. Work is such a huge part of our lives, it's bound to be impacted by the rise of AI.
So let's dive into that next. Will Optimus create new jobs, or will it just replace the ones we have now? Will we be working alongside robots, or will they eventually just, take over completely? So we left off talking about the future of work, and you know how AI, especially these robots like Optimus, might change the whole landscape. It's a topic that's, well, pretty fascinating, but also maybe a little bit anxiety-inducing for some folks out there.
Yeah, I can see why people would be a little on edge. Change can be a bit scary, especially when we're talking about something as central to our lives as work. But I think it helps to remember, if we look at history, we see this pattern of technological advancements coming in, shaking things up in industries, but then also creating brand new ones.
So you're saying we shouldn't automatically jump to this whole robots versus humans kind of thinking.
Exactly. It's not about one replacing the other. It's more about figuring out how they can work together. Optimus and other AI robots, they could take over those jobs that are, repetitive or dangerous or maybe just physically demanding, freeing us humans up to focus on things that really require, well, our human skills. Creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, that sort of thing.
Makes sense. There are definitely jobs that are honestly probably better suited for robots anyway,
Yeah.
like lifting really heavy stuff or working in environments that are hazardous to humans.
Exactly. And that could actually lead to safer and more efficient workplaces overall for everyone.
But what about those jobs that are, mostly focused on tasks that a robot could theoretically do? Are those jobs just going to vanish?
Well, some jobs will inevitably be displaced. That's the reality. But the thing is, history shows us that new technologies always create new jobs, often in areas we couldn't even imagine before.
So while some jobs might fade away, new ones will pop up to take their place.
Right. Think about the internet. Like 20 years ago, could anyone have predicted social media managers, data scientists, UX designers? These are entire industries that basically didn't exist before the internet took off.
Good point. It's tough to say exactly what the job market will look like in a decade or two,
Yeah.
but it's a safe bet it'll be heavily influenced by all these advancements in AI.
And that's why it's so crucial to focus on being adaptable, to be a lifelong learner. The skills that are hot today might be completely outdated tomorrow. We need to be ready to constantly learn, constantly evolve to keep up with this ever-changing world.
So instead of fearing the robots, maybe we should be embracing the opportunities AI brings to the table.
I think so. AI has the potential to really improve our lives, make our work more efficient, make the world a better place, really. It's on us to use it responsibly and make sure everyone benefits from it.
Well, I got to say, this conversation has definitely given me a more nuanced and definitely more optimistic view of the future of work in this whole AI age. It's not about robots versus humans. It's more about, how we can work together to build a better future for all of us.
I agree. It's about seeing AI as a tool, not a threat. A tool that can help us solve some of the world's toughest problems and help us unlock human potential in ways we might not even be able to imagine right now.
It's been a really interesting discussion today. We've covered a lot of ground, from Tesla's Optimus robot to that crazy potential $10 trillion market to the wider impacts of AI on society and the future of work. Lots to think about.
Yeah, it's amazing how one topic can branch out in so many different directions. And that's what we're all about here on the Deep Dive, right? We take something that seems pretty straightforward and we unpack it. We look at the layers, spark some curiosity along the way.
We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the world of Tesla's Optimus robot and the future of AI. And remember, the conversation doesn't have to end here. We encourage you to keep digging into these topics, asking questions, and having those thoughtful discussions about the future we're all creating together. Thanks for tuning in.